Over the last few months, my Steam Deck has taken a backseat to my Legion Go S. I really was not thrilled with how the Steam Deck was playing some of these bigger games, but I was also naive to think that the Steam Deck could run something like the Oblivion remake in the first place. But while there have been newer, more powerful handhelds to come out recently, the Steam Deck is still perfect when it comes to playing indie games. Personally, I've never been the biggest fan of indie games. I never played Super Meat Boy or Celeste, or really any Metroidvania type games, and that's mostly because I have no patience and my ADHD wants to play something like Destiny 2, where I'm shooting mindlessly at things for hours. Pew pew pew! But there is one indie game in particular that I absolutely love regardless of how hard it is, and this beautiful game has breathed new life into my dusty old Steam Deck. And that game is Pac-Man World for the PS1. No, I'm just kidding. It's obviously Hollow Knight. It's Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is a game I originally played on my Switch a few years ago. I fell in love with this buggy world and its dreary atmosphere and chill ambient music. But of course, my Nintendo Switch's Joy-Con got drift, making it almost impossible to play this Metroidvania style game where you need precise timing when it comes to making jumps from walls across dangerous spikes and whatnot. My good buddy Bob from the Wolf Den gave me Hall Effect sticks to swap out, and I of course screwed that up so I can't even use my left Joy-Con now. So Hollow Knight took a backseat for about a year or so. Steam recently had a sale on it for like $5, and since I'm cheap, I downloaded myself a copy of one of the best indie games of all time and started playing it for hours on my PC. After making my last video about the RG slide that no one watched, I was looking over at my Steam Deck that was laying dormant and lifeless, begging to be given a second chance again. So I downloaded Hollow Knight on my old friend, and to my amazement, I was in love with my Steam Deck again. Something about holding a device in my hand and looking directly at the screen 5 inches from my face makes playing this game that much better. The Steam Deck was made to play these types of games, and just like how it ran on my Switch, Hollow Knight runs great on my Steam Deck with no problems. I found myself getting lost in the underground bug-filled world once again for hours, just bouncing around, collecting money, and buying up all the crap I could. It made me really appreciate my Steam Deck again. For the few people out there who have never played this game, Hollow Knight is one of the greatest indie games of all time. Developed by Team Cherry and released back in 2017, Hollow Knight takes you on an epic but chill adventure through the depths of an underground world. You wake up as the Knight, this little guy with a nail for a sword and 2 black tic-tac shaped eyes who doesn't speak, and you set off on a quest to save the kingdom of Hollownest from infected bugs. Hollow Knight is a Metroidvania game, which basically means it's a large open world platformer where you need to up your skills to progress through the story, which usually has one main plot, but allows you to explore the world as you want. In order to get to the next part of the map, you need to beat a boss and gain a new skill like double jumping or sticking to walls for a few seconds in order to jump up to a previously unreachable ledge. And speaking of bosses, it also can get extremely hard where you'll end up dying versus bosses multiple times before you can figure out the timing of their attacks. This is a very satisfying game once you get the hang of it, and it really is very oddly peaceful, like I said, with its ambient background music and chill atmosphere. One thing I love in particular about Hollow Knight is that the backgrounds and characters were all hand-drawn in Photoshop, and then those assets were imported into Unity, a free game engine software that anyone can use to make a video game. Being able to play Hollow Knight on the couch again has really made it that much better of an experience. It obviously runs very smoothly on the Steam Deck and barely ate up any battery life while I was playing it for hours at a time. The Steam Deck really shines when it comes to these indie games as opposed to GPU-hungry AAA games. Not having to worry about my Steam Deck's controls having drift is also another giant positive compared to the Switch when playing these Metroidvania platformers. And if you were not aware, one of the most anticipated games that was announced years ago, Silksong, a sort of sequel to Hollow Knight, will be out supposedly by the end of the year. So if you are looking to get yourself a challenging but rewarding chill game that will take you hours to play on your Steam Deck, I highly suggest buying Hollow Knight. And to my Steam Deck, I'm so sorry I ever doubted you, my old friend. Even though the Legion Go S has a way better screen, okay? Fight me. Yeah, right. Well, did you play Hollow Knight, or is this a game that you're interested in playing? I'm not really the biggest indie games fan, like I said, but this is definitely one of my top 10 favorite games of all time. And I know people love Metroidvania style games. I'm just too impatient. Anyway, if you liked the video, make sure you subscribe, share it with a friend. Okay, goodbye.